This is a CBS7 First Alert Weather Day. Now, an update from the First Alert Weather Center.
Mother Nature hits West Texas and southeastern New Mexico hard. The town of Pecos saw baseball-sized hail and even a report of a tornado. We've got the latest on these storms tonight on CBS7 News at 9 on the CW and live on the CBS7 YouTube. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight at 9. I'm Alexandra Macia here with meteorologist Justin Lopez. And as we just mentioned this evening, we've had some severe thunderstorms. Have those calmed down, Justin?
Good evening. No, not really. That's the big story here is that we have some severe weather all across our area, and we're expecting some more on the way later tonight and even tomorrow during the evening hours. Now, looking at our radar, you can see those thunderstorms, that line of thunderstorms that we had earlier today crossing through southeastern New Mexico. It's moving pretty slowly, and it's actually entering Texas right now. Zooming in on this particular storm cell here in Kermit and Wink counties, we have some pretty large hail around this part right here, this little highlighted part right there. The hail is currently being reported to be, or radar indicated, at 2 inches in diameter, and winds are estimated to be gusting up to 70 miles per hour. So make sure you're staying weather alert with that, because look, this one too, you're seeing another part of that storm cell with 1.75 inch hail and strong winds as well. And flash flood warnings, because this area right here has just been getting dumped on this entire afternoon and evening now. Lovington is currently under that flash flood warning for the next couple of hours. Same thing here, we have another in Lee County, another severe thunderstorm warning. So winds are currently gusting up to 60 miles per hour and hail is up to 1 inch in diameter, which we've been seeing that a lot today. Pecos got hit pretty bad with, we saw some storm reports and some pictures thanks to y'all, and it's been pretty ugly. Now that storm system is going to shift off eastward tomorrow, so this is what we're going to be looking at tomorrow. Again, the threats being large hail and strong gusty winds. So like I said, our big weather headlines are going to be that we have severe weather on tap for tonight and tomorrow, so make sure you're staying with weather alert with us. We are your first alert weather station, so make sure that you have a way to get those advisories and warnings. And then we have a cold front coming on the way on Wednesday, so it's going to cool things down a little bit, and then we're also going to get those good rain chances for the next couple of days.
Thanks, Justin. A Young Leaders Roundtable discussion was held tonight at the Busch Convention Center. Companies and organizations came together to discuss the future for Midland ISD students and the need for investment.
Something like education supports all other industries and all other things in the community. So the better educated and safe our kids are while they're at school, the better that they can support those future visions of the community.
Midland business leaders hosted a roundtable discussion on the importance of the MISD school bond.
Our schools are inefficient and low quality. They're old, and we need to invest in our kids and build better ones for them.
The goal was to gather and engage the community to make informed decisions in the upcoming November election.
This is the center of the oil universe in Texas and the U.S., and we need to develop infrastructure commensurate with that economic engine that we have here today.
Leaders also highlighted the need for investment in Midland's future.
A community that more or less pulls in the same direction together is investing in things like schools, hospitals, roads, quality of place. We've got a lot of work to do here to match the work that many of the corporations have done here in terms of investing in the oil and gas resources underground.
And students' future.
We have not passed a secondary school bond in over 20 years. The last bond that really made a big change was in 1996. So I hope that everyone comes out and supports this bond.
Attendees also had the chance to ask questions and register to vote at the event. And this Thursday, the STEM Academy is hosting a community fair. The event is an opportunity for first and third graders to learn more about careers in STEM and show off their own work. The STEM Academy focuses on deeper learning through hands-on project-based lessons. To prepare for this event, the students made something to present, including force and motion games that they made in science class, art projects the classes worked on together, and more. The event will bring together people from many different areas of expertise.
The UTB sports team, OC Fab Lab, we have Texas Roadhouse, United Way, Food Bank, a lot of different people that we see constantly doing awesome things because we want our kids to see that. We want them to see that people here are making a difference. It's not just people in the White House.
One of the first graders even said she wants to be a graphic designer, so a graphic designer was invited. All of the teacher students are very excited for the fair, and it will be an event for the whole family. And Representative August Pfluger visited Eagle Pass last week as the United States southern border saw an influx of Venezuelan immigrants fleeing a crisis in their home country. At the same time, CBS News says that it obtained preliminary data that unlawful crossings surpassed 200,000 in September, this year's high. Pfluger's visit came amid what many thought was an impending government shutdown, with the border being a point of contention in D.C. While Midland, Odessa is hundreds of miles from the border, Pfluger and Ector County Sheriff Mike Griffiths say the two towns are negatively impacted by unlawful immigration. Sheriff Griffiths says his office has traced drug offenses to cartel activity. He also says immigration-related human trafficking has been a local concern.
The list goes on and on and on. It does affect us. It's impacting our community, maybe more so than any because of the trafficking of humans, the trafficking of young.
Both Sheriff Griffiths and Representative Pfluger acknowledged the difficulties people crossing the border are fleeing, but stressed that a lawful, more organized process is needed. And tracking crime, a 37-year-old Odessa woman who was arrested in June following the death of a 6-week-old girl in a wreck has been indicted on intoxication, manslaughter, and bribery charges. According to our news partners with the Odessa American, Daisy Denise Cordero was booked into the Ector County Jail Friday morning and released the same day. Back in June, Cordero was driving a Lexus RX 350 when she rear-ended a Chevrolet Cruze that had stopped for a red light. Eliana Garcia, the 6-week-old, was in the backseat of that Chevy along with a 1-year-old boy. According to OPD, the boy and the 19-year-old driver of the Chevy were taken to Medical Center Hospital and treated for their injuries. The baby was flown to a Lubbock hospital where she later died. And in Midland County, 2 men were arrested after the sheriff's office conducted a sex offender registration compliance operation. According to the Midland County Sheriff's Office, 54-year-old Samuel Banda and 60-year-old Elmo Ray Fortenberry Jr. were both charged with failing to register as sex offenders. And it's a story you'll only see on CBS7. On September 29, 2014, just around 5 p.m., Humberto Palama was driving his truck in Odessa when he was cut off and killed in a shooting, but no arrest was ever made. For the last 9 years, the case for Humberto Palama has been a mystery. Palama was murdered after neighbors at the corner of 23rd Street and Keystone Drive say they heard an argument between Humberto and another person. For the Palamas, it's frustrating as they feel that a son and a brother has been forgotten, and they are worried OPD isn't doing enough to solve the crime.
When it first happened, I believe I was calling like every once a week, and then I just got tired of it, and then we just didn't hear nothing for years. And then, I stopped for a little while because every time I do one of these interviews, I relive it. And I don't want to relive it anymore. I want to be over it, but I can't because I don't know who did it. I want to find out who did this to my brother. I want to find out why. What did he do?
And to this day, that question is still unknown. For the Palmas, it's frustrating as they feel that a son and a brother has been forgotten and that OPD isn't doing enough to solve the crime.
It's got to be frustrating for every victim when a detective or an officer tells them, look, we're out of leads.
If anything, the murder of Humberto Palma, you are encouraged to call the Odessa Police Department or Odessa Crime Stoppers. And starting today, there will be a road closure along 100th Street in Odessa. The road closure will be between Andrews Highway, East Service Road, and Holiday Drive. Crews have installed a temporary bypass road to maintain traffic flow. Traffic control is expected to be in place for 1 week. A private utility contractor will be installing a new water main line across 100th Street, and people are asked to follow all traffic control devices, find alternate routes if needed, and expect delays. Now for a look at today's top headlines shown here in real time with real viewers on CBS7.com. See all of these stories and more by downloading our app or visiting our website at CBS7.com. And still ahead, former President Donald Trump spends a day in a Manhattan courtroom. How the start of the civil fraud trial went when we return to CBS7 News at 9 on the CW. Former President Donald Trump appeared in court on the first day of his fraud trial in Manhattan. In the civil case, he is accused of inflating the value of his properties. CBS News correspondent Astrid Martinez reports from New York.
Former President Donald Trump listened to hours of opening statements in the New York fraud lawsuit against him. Trump, his 2 adult sons, and his real estate company are accused of deceiving banks, insurers, and others by exaggerating wealth in financial statements.
Donald Trump and the other defendants have committed persistent and repeated fraud.
During the day, Trump lashed out against the judge in the non-jury trial and New York Attorney General Letitia James. She is seeking $250 million in penalties and a ban on Trump doing business in New York.
We have a rogue judge who rules that properties are worth a tiny fraction, 1/100th, a tiny fraction of what they actually are. We have a racist attorney general who's a horror show, who ran on the basis that she was going to get Trump before she even knew anything about me.
Trump is accused of misrepresenting his net worth by over $3.5 billion, inflating his assets to secure better loan terms. Attorney for the state of New York, Kevin Wallace, told the judge they were lying year after year after year. Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, said in a deposition played in court that he and former Trump Organization CFO, Alan Weiselberg, were tasked with inflating assets to obtain the number that Trump wanted.
Let's say it said he was worth $6 billion. Well, he wanted to be higher on the Forbes list. And he then said, I'm actually not worth $6 billion. I'm worth $7. In fact, I think it's actually now worth $8.
Trump attorney Chris Kise called Cohen a serial liar and said everyone has a different opinion as to valuation. The former president called the trial rigged and a witch hunt, despite the fact that the judge ruled last week he had committed fraud. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
All right, everybody. So it's been a busy night tonight, and we are currently tracking some severe weather as it's making its way through southeastern New Mexico and portions of West Texas. We'll keep you updated on all of that coming up next.
This is a CBS7 First Alert Weather Day. Now an update from meteorologist Justin Lopez.
Hey there, everybody. Right now, we've had a really busy night in terms of severe weather. We are actually currently tracking some storms as they're making their way through southeastern New Mexico, around Hobbs as well, and even portions of western Texas around the Presidio area. The storms that we really want to hone in on is this storm cell right here around the Pecos area, because they have already been slammed pretty bad earlier today with some pretty large hail. We got reports of hail being the size of people's palms. Lots of damage to report there, and that has been reported from there. And then we have this storm system right now. It's making its way through Kermit and Wink counties. Damage is going to be considerable because the hail that is associated with this, especially in this spot right here, that darker purple that you're seeing on the map, that is indicating hail of 2 inches in diameter, and then winds are gusting up to 70 miles per hour. That will expire at 9:45 later tonight. Hopefully it does not make its way into the Midland Odessa area, but we will keep monitoring that for you as well. And looking at this other storm cell that's moving through Lee County, it has been making a pretty good amount of rain, dropping a pretty good amount of rain, mostly because this area, it's under a flash flood warning because this storm system has just been trailing through this area and just dumping massive amounts of rain. We need the rain, honestly. I'm not really complaining about that, but it is a little bit problematic whenever it falls all at once. So looking at this storm cell right here around Eunice, New Mexico, it's also severe warned because it has hail of up to 1 inch in diameter and winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. These storm cells over here are more of the non-severe type, but the storms are expected to continue making their way eastward. By midnight, they should be clearing out of our area just north of Big Spring, and then be out of the area by completely by around 7 in the morning. There is a chance of some more thunderstorms to develop around the Alpine area later on in the early morning hours. And then we're going to go ahead and look at the storm chances for tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to have the same story play out, just shifting a little eastward. And actually, this time, Midland, Odessa will be included a little bit more than they are today. And the same threats will be existent. There will be some possibility for large hail and some really gusty winds, flash flooding, and even a possibility for a tornado. So make sure you are staying weather alert with us. And we're just trying to keep y'all safe. So make sure to turn on your alerts. And our timing for these storms, like I said, this is for tomorrow. We're going to start off a little cloudy. Those clouds are going to clear up throughout the day, allowing for the daytime heating to trigger some thunderstorms by around 3 p.m. And then those storms will blow up over here a little east of Fort Stockton. That's where we're going to want to pay attention, because this is where we're going to see the majority of the activity going on. And then they're going to clear out as the morning hours go on. This is all because we're kind of wedged in between that high pressure system right over here and a trough that's just bringing in a lot of moisture from the Pacific and bringing in a lot of energy as well. Looking out over Pecos, you just saw a little bit of lightning in the background. Temperatures are currently sitting around 80 degrees out there in Pecos, 80 in Odessa as well, 79 in Midland. And our winds are slightly gusty, especially right over here in the Fort Stockton area, 29 mile per hour wind gusts. Looking at our highs for tomorrow, we're expecting 86 in Odessa and Midland and 89 in Monahans. A warmer spot being Presidio with 94 degrees. But as you can see, we're expecting thunderstorm activity to be all over the area tomorrow. And like I said, our rain chances are going to be pretty good, pretty high for the next couple of days. We have a cold front coming in Wednesday evening, and then it'll drop our temperatures on Thursday to 78 degrees and on Saturday with a high of 68 degrees.
Still ahead, there is no funding for Ukraine in the bipartisan bill that averted a government shutdown. A look at how the deal is leading to infighting among House Republicans next in your news across the nation on CBS 7 News at 9. Congress has a little more than a month to find common ground on long-term funding that will keep the government open and running. Skylar Henry has more from Capitol Hill.
President Biden is pressing Congress to reach a long-term funding deal.
Don't waste time like you did this summer and pass a year-long budget agreement.
He's also adamant about getting more money to Ukraine in the country's war against Russia.
We cannot, under any circumstances, allow American support for Ukraine to be interrupted.
Support for Ukraine remains a hot-button topic on Capitol Hill. The stopgap bill Congress passed over the weekend to keep the government open did not include the $300 million originally proposed to help Ukraine's war effort. Hardline conservatives who are calling for deeper spending cuts and oppose the funding say this comment from the president Sunday is fueling new questions for them.
Mr. President, are you going to be able to trust Speaker McCarthy when the next deal comes around?
We just made one about Ukraine, so we'll find out.
Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, among other Republicans, brought their concerns about that deal to the House floor after Speaker McCarthy turned to Democrats for help avoiding the government shutdown.
Working with the Democrats is a yellow brick road that has been paved by Speaker McCarthy, whether it was the debt limit deal, the CR, or now the secret deal on Ukraine.
Gaetz also said he plans to oust McCarthy from leadership this week.
I do not think it's good for the House. I do not think it's good for this institution. I do not think this is good for the country. We've got 45 days here to do our work, and someone wants to continue to string this out.
It's unclear whether a motion to remove McCarthy as Speaker has enough votes to pass. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
All right, everybody. So right now we're going to give you an update on the severe weather that we have going on in the region. We do have some storm cells that are making their way through the Permian Basin right now, actually coming into the Permian Basin. There's a storm cell around Wink County, or it's about to be impacting Wink, and that's in Ward County and Winkler County. And this storm cell is producing hail that is 2 inches in diameter. Wind gusts are up to 70 miles per hour. So make sure that you have a way to get any alerts that you can possibly get, because this one's pretty big. Then we have another storm cell that's producing flash flood. It's got a flash flood warning associated with it out there near Lovington. It's just been trailing. A lot of rain has been running all around that area. Just a lot of rain so fast can create a lot of flash flooding. And then another storm cell in southeastern New Mexico near Eunice is producing hail up to 1 inch in diameter and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So if we have this storm systems, we're going to have some pretty severe weather tomorrow as well. So make sure that you're staying weather alert with us. Same threats are going to be on the table. Strong winds, hail, flash flooding, possibility for a tornado also cannot be ruled out.
All right, well, thanks for watching CBS 7 First Alert News at 9 the CW.